Hello everyone, welcome back, Patrick here. Are you guys ready for the ultimate electric vehicle SPAC deathmatch? In this video, we're going to compare Lightning eMotors, Lion Electric, Arrival, and Proterra. Which one do I like the most short term from now until the merger, and which one do I like the most long term if you were going to hold it for a few years? We're going to talk about all of that. I'm going to compare them based on the hype, the revenue projections, the latest news, and also just the current valuation, right, which is going to fluctuate over time. So let's get started with that. But of course, please like and subscribe. It really helps out. And also, again, WeBull extended the promotion for 4 free stocks because it is so popular right now. So if you're interested in that, link in the description and also in the first comments. Thank you, and let's get started. Alright friends, I'm not going to review all these companies once again. Either you know about them, or in the description I have all the links to my full reviews, so if you missed one or you want to know more about these companies, just watch the full review. They're very detailed. So I'm just going to give you the quick cliff notes of what we've learned since then, and if there's any short-term catalyst that could boost the share price. We'll start with GIK, which is Lightning eMotors. Now, the company just got an order of 200 vehicles for ABC companies. These are motor coaches, and so this is a reorder. They already have this company. They're delivering vehicles. Now the company wants 200 more, meaning that they're happy with the product. So that is, of course, very good. Tim Reeser is the CEO. He's very active on Twitter, right? And if you guys remember, he was supposed to go on Jim Cramer's Mad Money. Now that was canceled, but now they're trying to do it once again, right? So if he gets booked on it, hopefully we get the Cramer pump. But this has happened with Lion Electric. You guys know what happened, right? When the CEO of Lion went on the show, immediately, like the day after, the share price went up, what, 10, 15%. So hopefully this is what happens with Tim Reeser also, if he can get on the show. So look forward to that. Now, what is the one thing that I like about this company? What sets it apart compared to the other ones? I like the fact that they already have booked orders until at least like halfway through 2022. So I do like that the company has that in the books already, so we can count on that revenue. This makes the company not very risky, right? Because they're already have products and they're already delivering on them. Now let's move on to Lion Electric. All right, Lion Electric, another company that I really like. The share price has been dropping since they were on Mad Money. This is kind of like obvious, right? We could expect that there was going to be a pullback. I do think that once the price stabilizes, it's going to be another good opportunity to get into the stock. Now, what have we learned since I last did the review? Well, they have another order of 60 Lion Electric buses by Autobus Séguin. So this is in Quebec. I guess they operate school buses. And this goes to what I was talking about in that review, is that in Canada, it's not really a free market, right? All of the Canadian companies and governments are mostly going to go with Lion Electric, and that, of course, is going to help the company a lot compared to their competitors, right? Because right now in Canada, as far as I know, they are the #1 and only electric vehicle company. So that's why they are going to get the market share in Canada. Now, Alex Cutler, this guy, a lot of people have been talking about him recently on Twitter. Like, he talks about a lot of different SPACs. He says that supposedly there's a group of investors shorting this company right now, and that would explain the current share price dropping since Cramer. I don't know if it's true, right? This guy, I don't know his credibility or anything, but a lot of people are listening to him lately, and it could explain why the shares are dropping at the moment. Now, I do think that if it's the case, because it is not a well-known like short firm, and they haven't published a report or anything, I think it's going to be very short-lived, right? They want to make quick profits, and that's why as soon as it stabilizes, it's probably going to start to rebound. Now, the one thing that is great about this company, like what's anchoring it, is the fact that they have that long-term purchase agreement. And this, since my review, we found out is Amazon. So that's why the company has been like going up like crazy, is because people know that this is a huge deal for them. And over the next several years, they'll be selling to Amazon and hopefully getting more from them. Next up, we've got Ctc Proterra. This is the latest SPAC to announce a merger, so there's really not a lot to say, aside from the fact that the share price has gone up very rapidly. You guys know this, from $12 all the way up to $25, and then since then it's been slowly drifting upward, right? So this is a company that has a lot of hype, people really expect that they're going to do well. Now, what sets them apart is, yes, they are very experienced with city transit buses. That's their specialty, right? And you guys probably already know this. So for me, what sets them apart is the Daimler partnership and then their Van Hool partnership. Daimler is one of the biggest seller of vehicles in the world, and the fact that they're going to be using Proterra's technology for some of their vehicles really accelerates the company's growth, because by themselves they can't produce that many vehicles. But if they're going with Daimler's production capacity, right, and they're just using Proterra's technology, that's going to help increase their revenues much faster than what they could by themselves. And then last but not least, we've got Ciic, which is going to be merging with Arrival. This is another very big company. Right now, it is the highest valuation of all four of them. This company already has had the Kramer pump, right? He said that this company was a buy, but he said under 1750, like below the boat on this one. But right now, the share price is way higher than that. So the company, this one, like what makes them special, why people are so excited about it, is the fact that they currently have 1.2 billion in orders, right? And they have that big UPS contract. So this company, like they're supposed to be selling up to 10,000 vehicles. This one that you can see right here to UPS, plus they also make the buses. So this company is trying to do the micro factories, which we don't know exactly how successful it's going to be, but it's a very good concept. And again, like this is one of the companies that has a lot of hype right now, and the valuation shows it. All right, guys, now you're up to speed on these SPACs. Let's look at some data, which I think you're going to find extremely interesting. And when you see it on the screen with the chart, I mean, it really stands out which one is good at in the short term and which one is better in the long run. So if we look at the share price, which is not really that important, but the reason why we look at it is because typically with these SPACs, there's the $10 floor price. So being closer to $10 gives you more downside protection. It's never going to go much lower than $10 before the merger, which these, of course, are electric vehicle companies, so we don't expect them to. But still, if we look at it, Lightning emotors at 1645, Lion Electric 2851, Proterra 279, and then Arrival 2879. So Lightning emotors is much cheaper than the other companies and closer to the $10 floor. If we look at the warrants, we see exactly the same thing. The warrant price, 447 for Lightning emotors, is basically half of the other companies. But all three bigger ones, right, they're very neck and neck when it comes to their share price and their warrant price. So there's not one that is very more attractive if we just look at the price, except for Lightning emotors, it's much cheaper than the other ones. Next up, we've got the leverage ratio. You guys know I take this very seriously. This is the number of warrants that I can buy for the price of one share. The higher this number, the better if you want to have leverage, because it magnifies your results. If the share price goes up, well, since you own more warrants, your return is supposed to be higher. Here, once again, Lightning emotors at 368 is higher than the other ones. You have Lion Electric at 272, Proterra at 317, and Arrival at 314. I was kind of surprised that NGA, even after dropping $5 their share price in the past few days, is much worse than the other companies. And this is why when you look at it like this, very objectively, even though Lion Electric is one of my favorite companies, right? But if you look at it objectively, right now the warrants are not the best deal in the market. Does that make sense? So you guys can see it on the graph here, right? Once again, GIK, when it comes to the warrants, is a better deal. Then we have Proterra and Arrival very close, and Lion Electric would be the worst of the four. Now, if we go down to the revenue projections for 2021, you guys will see that this one, again, like you can see a pretty clear picture of who's ahead. So you have GIK that's going to be way in the back, right, at 63 million. Then you have Lion Electric and Proterra that are companies that are already in the market right now and ready to deliver, right? They're starting to ramp up, and that's why Lion Electric is supposed to do 204 million and Proterra 246 million. So those two companies are very, very similar. I mean, we've talked about it many times before. These are the two companies that are the closest, like apple to apple comparison. Then finally, you have Arrival that is not scheduled to have any revenues in 2021. So in that regards, you can say that Arrival is a little bit more speculative than the other two companies. Like, we don't really know if they're going to be able to deliver on all of their promises. I mean, it's very possible, but we don't know 100% for sure. Now, if we look at the 2023 revenue projections, is where it gets a little bit more complicated, because like in 2021, we can kind of really like believe in the numbers because it's this year and we know that they're actually working on them and delivering these vehicles. But when it comes to 2023, like the projections that these companies have vary very wildly. So you have to decide for yourself if you believe them, which one you think is more realistic, right? So we have Lightning Emotors at 640 million, dwarfed by Lion Electric at 1.6 billion, Proterra at 838 million, and then you have Arrival at 5.1 billion. So here Arrival is saying that they're going to go from 0 to like 3 times bigger than Lion Electric in those 2 years, between 2021 and 2023. Is it possible? I have no idea. I mean, it's up to you guys to decide if you believe it or not. They have some very nice contracts with UPS and other companies, but Lion Electric does too with Amazon. So are they going to really grow that much quicker starting from scratch? I don't know if it's realistic. At the same time, if you look at it, is Lion Electric going to grow twice as much as Proterra in those 2 years? We know that Proterra is partnering with other companies, which, yes, it means that they're not going to get 100% of that revenue because they have like a revenue share, I would assume, with Daimler, but they should be able to produce many more vehicles. So it's very possible that Lion Electric is a little bit too optimistic in their numbers. Proterra is not optimistic enough in their numbers, right? And then you have Arrival that is on a totally different planet. If they can achieve 5.1 billion, it is by far going to be one of the biggest companies out there in the market. So if we look at the 2025 revenue projections, again, like the numbers change and grow exponentially. You have Lightning Emotors at 2 billion. Lion Electric, we don't have the 2025 projections. I had to pick up the ones from 2024. The ones from 2024 would be 3.6 billion, which is already much higher than what Proterra projects at 2.6 billion. And then you have Arrival at 14 billion. So again, is Lion Electric too optimistic compared to Proterra? Is Lightning Emotor going to catch up to Proterra? It's hard to tell, right? This 4 years from now, like we have to base on what we know right now. But if we look at the projections, once again, Arrival is much more optimistic than the other companies, where here they're basically saying that they're going to be 4 times bigger, 5 times bigger than Lion Electric, and 6 times bigger than Proterra. Again, do you guys believe this? I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure at all. If we look at the pie chart for the 2025 revenues, Arrival would have 63% of the revenues among these 4 companies, Lightning Motors 9%, Lion 16%, and Proterra 11%. So if we drop down, I only have 3 more for you guys. I hope you're enjoying it. Let me know in the comments. But if we look at the current valuation, so this is today. I calculated these. You have Lightning Emotors at 1.2 billion, Lion Electric at 5.1, Proterra at 5.8, and then you have Arrival at almost $17 billion. Like, look at the chart here. Tell me which one you feel is undervalued. I mean, to me, it jumps out of the page that GIK, compared to the other companies, and the fact that, we look at their projections in 2023 and 2025, even though it's not the company that's the most hyped out of those 4, right? The valuation compared to the other ones is so small that it's the company that has the most potential for where they are right now, in my opinion. You have NGA and Proterra that are neck and neck. Those 2 companies are very similar. And then you have Arrival that, to me, like based on the fact that right now we don't know if they'll be able to get those crazy high multiples and that projections of $14 billion, I feel like it's a little too overpriced, right? Jim Cramer was talking about $17.50, so that would be a good price to buy. Well, right now the share price is much higher than that. So again, Arrival is not my favorite, even though all 3 of them have the same share price. Look at how different the valuations are, right? We're talking about 5 to 6 billion compared to almost 17. So here you have the pie chart. Once again, you can see CIC at 58% compared to the other ones. So currently, I feel like for myself, Arrival right now is overpriced. Lightning Motors is underpriced, and you have the other 2 that are fairly comparable. Now, 2021 PE ratio, or price to revenue. Lightning Motors 19, Lion Electric 25, Proterra 24, and then Arrival at 0. Once again, Lightning Motors compares very favorably, but I like NGA and Proterra, both of the same. Like I feel like both companies have a lot of potential. So Arrival at 0, we don't really know. And then the last one I want to show you guys is based on the 2025 price to revenue projection. Here, once again, Lightning Motors stands out if they can reach that 2 billion, which again, it's all speculation. We really don't know. But if they can reach that 2 billion, it would be by far the cheaper of the four companies at 0.58 compared to 1.41 for Lion Electric, 2.29 for Proterra, and then Arrival at 1.19 if they can get to that 14 billion. So guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think, right? I told you a little bit of, like, based on these numbers, I feel like GIK, even though it's not the most exciting company, especially if they can get on Kramer and get that Kramer pump that I've been talking about, I feel like this is by far the most underpriced and undervalued of those four, which gives the best opportunity because you can buy more warrants compared to the other three companies. And then after that, I'm kind of torn between NGA and ACTC. I love Lion Electric, right? But right now the warrants are not as good. Plus, I feel like their revenue projections are probably a little too high compared to Proterra. And then CIC, it's too speculative for me at this price. Personally, I'm going to avoid it. If you guys love it, let me know in the comments. But Arrival for me, it's not for me right now. So let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. For me, it's Lightning Motors. That's my biggest position of the four for now.